This is FYI on your TV, brought to you by Hometown News. I'm Kathy Botham. I've got Martina Flanagan back with me. You were here last year, and you are a volunteer with ConnectWell, and you are a volunteer with the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program.
That's exactly right.
And now, typically we think income taxes, March, April time of year, but you do this all year.
Yes, ConnectWell is the organization that sponsors this income tax program, and they are a 12-month-a-year program. So we are volunteers who are available to do taxes whenever people can get to them. But we always tell people, it's much better to do it in March and April. There is a deadline for Canada Revenue Agency that's the end of April, so the 30th of April, and we encourage people to do their taxes at that, before that deadline.
Okay, but you are helping people all throughout the year too.
That's
This is
right.
your busy season.
This is our busy season. That's exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
We're extremely busy for those 2 months, and then for the rest of the year, it's a calmer pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program is?
Yes, isn't that a mouthful?
Isn't it? Yes.
I don't know how people come up with names like that, but it's been around, this Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, since 1970. And basically, Canada Revenue Agency, which used to be called Revenue Canada, saw the need for people that had difficulty in completing their own taxes to have volunteers all across Canada to help people who were having some problems with doing their taxes. Now, of course, lots of people go to different companies, accountants, or different even private people to have their taxes done, and there's no problem with that. That's great. The advantage of using this Community Volunteer Income Tax Program is that it's a free program. There's no charge to get the help to have your taxes done. I'm going to say one thing and then I'll stop talking, but the exceptions is we can't do everyone's taxes, nor do we want to do everyone's taxes. And so the taxes that we can do are the ones that are the simple taxes. So people that have a simple tax situation, and also it's meant to help people who have a modest income. So this year, what's modest? I can say I have a modest income, but who knows what that is? So the way the government looks at it is if you're a single person, and if your income from everything you get is $40,000 or less, then you're eligible for this Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. If you're married, you have either a spouse or somebody that is in your life, then the eligibility is $50,000. So if you're two people living together, then $50,000 or less is how they can say, yes, the volunteers can do your taxes.
So somebody who runs their own business, that sort of thing, that's not
No.
your... No.
I'm so glad you used that example because we would not be trained to do business taxes. We're not trained to do somebody who has had a death. So if someone has passed away and their relative is looking for help. We're not trained to do bankruptcies. So if someone has declared bankruptcy, then we can't do those kind. But for the ones that are just, maybe they get their old age pension and their CPP, or for somebody that's still working, they get a couple of T4 slips, which is earned income at a job. Those are the kind that we can do.
So that was going to be a question, like, how are you trained? Yes.
Oh, yeah. We're trained by Canada Revenue Agency trains us. They require us to have a police check. They require us to register to be able to do something that's called electronic filing, or e-filing is the other name for it. So we're trained by Canada Revenue Agency to do those kinds of taxes. Yeah.
Okay, and you do them both on phone and in person as well.
That's right. We used to, before COVID, we used to do them all the time in person. And we would have locations set up in different communities. So we would have locations in Smiths Falls, Perth, Carleton Place, Almont, Pakenham, and we would go to those locations that we had arranged and do it in person. When COVID happened, there was a lot of concern about passing on the virus, so we then started doing them by phone or by video, and that has continued on, that we still do by phone. And as I was saying earlier, Kathy, is that we do a lot by telephone. But there are some people that telephone really is not the way they want to do it. Either they have hearing problems or they need to share their paperwork with the volunteer. And in those cases, we're doing it in person, and we're doing it in those towns that are in this area.
So when you do it over the phone too, you have to count on them giving you the proper information.
Absolutely. We have to count on them giving us the proper information, and if there's any question about it, then we have the ability, with their permission, and as long as they understand, we have the ability to check any slips that they might have that would have also been sent to the government. So I'm going to give you the example. If it was somebody that was on an old age pension, the government, Canada Revenue Agency, also has the same slip.
Right.
So with their permission, I can go to that website and check that their information is correct, in case they are having any problems seeing it. And also, it's a good way of our confirming that they actually do have that piece of paper right there.
And you've been doing this for a long time, so somebody gave you an incorrect number or anything like that, or not intentionally even, you would think, okay, something's off here.
Yeah, something's off here, so we can help them to make sure that it's corrected.
Right,
exactly.
Right. And help them succeed.
Exactly, help them succeed in not having taxes go in with the wrong information.
Absolutely.
So we work with them 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to add one other thing which I didn't say earlier, but when I was telling you about the communities that we do these taxes for, because we're with ConnectWell, which actually covers Renfrew County as well as Lanark County, we now are doing people that are living in Renfrew County. So if they're living in Arnprior, Renfrew, Pembroke, there's all these different communities that I'm not that aware of, but we're doing them as well. But those ones, we don't go to their communities, we do them by phone.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now that's a big catchment area too.
It is.
How many volunteers are doing, or do you know the answer
Yes,
to that?
I do. I know the answer, and I'll tell you two things about that. Is right now we have between 16 and 18 volunteers.
Just for the income tax
Yeah,
program?
just for the income tax program. That's what we do,
Wow.
for the 2 months, and then some of us continue on for the year. And last year we did over 2,200 tax returns.
Wow.
So when you think about 2,200 people had their taxes done, so it kind of a large number of people, and they are from everywhere. We could do people all across Ontario, but generally we're doing Lanark County and Renfrew County.
Okay, okay. Now I have to ask this because you would think your background is accounting or business. You were a nurse.
That's right.
How did you get interested in this?
Well, you know what, and I'm glad, because I always had an interest in taxes. I come from a family that had an accountant in the family, and I always loved it. But I will tell you that some of our volunteers have various backgrounds. So we have volunteers who were social workers. We have volunteers who were accountants in a previous life. We have volunteers who worked on cars. So they're all over the spectrum of what people have done in their background. But we all just like helping people, and we have an interest and a comfort level with taxes.
Oh, and you know what? That's what volunteering is all about too, is doing something you really enjoy doing.
That's right.
That's right.
You can do something for your work all your life, but have something that's more of a hobby.
Yes. Other interests in your life, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to our income tax too. What are the benefits of filing on time?
Oh, there are so many benefits. Okay, the first one, if you don't file on time and you owe money to the government, then you will be charged a penalty, and you will be charged interest for every month you don't get your taxes done. Now that's the fear factor, and that's important to me. I don't want to be paying the government money that isn't necessary. I pay enough.
Yeah, right. And interest too.
Interest too. So it adds up. So people that owe money, absolutely, need to file by April 30th. That's number one. Second, more importantly, is that there are many benefits that come to the taxpayer, especially one with a modest income, that they don't get unless they file their taxes.
Right.
And the number of people that tell me, well, I stopped getting my GST and I don't know why. And I say, well, have you done your taxes for the previous year? And they say, well, no. Did I have to? Yes. You're not going to get your GST. You're not going to get this other one that's called the Ontario Trillium Benefit.
Right.
You're not going to get, if you have children, you will be cut off the Canada Child Benefit, which is a very significant amount of money that comes into people that have children.
Right.
And it comes in every month. And you will get it cut off unless you've done the previous year's taxes. And I go, whoa, you know, like for each child, it's over $500 a month.
Wow.
So to lose that money would be just awful. And they will lose it. If they haven't done their taxes, there's a good chance that they will get it cut off.
Wow.
There's another one that's called, it was called the Climate Action Incentive. Now it's been called the Canada Carbon Rebate. And it's money that, now in the last few years, people have noticed, oh, I get this thing that's like carbon tax benefit. I don't know what it's about. But that also has been based on having done your taxes. And it's a pretty nice little bit of money that
Right.
comes in. Comes in 4 times a year, and it's very nice to get it. I'm going to say one more benefit is that if you're a senior citizen with a modest income, you get something that's called a guaranteed income supplement. So besides getting your old age pension, you get this supplement. And sometimes I've had calls from people that said, I don't know why, but my old age pension just went down, like I'm
Yes.
hardly getting anything. And again, I say, well, have you done your taxes for the previous year? Well, I don't know. I don't remember. When did I have to do them? And yes, if you don't do it, then that supplement that helps some of our seniors who are living on very little money, they won't get that supplement.
Right.
So
Right.
those are the, you know, there's probably other reasons to do your taxes. However, those are the ones that really I care about. So
Do you ever get people that haven't filed in a year
Yes.
or two, whatever, how many years?
Kathy,
Yes.
there are people that will call and say, I haven't done my taxes in 10 years, and somebody has said, maybe I should do my taxes. And it's like, yes,
Yes.
do them. And some of the benefits can be given to them, even though they haven't done their taxes in 10 years. They may be able to get a retroactive
Wow, yes.
amount of money. Some of them they
Or
won't.
would they have to pay too?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. If they owed money,
Yes.
they would be really having a lot of debt.
Wow.
But you know what I tell people is that I know you're afraid of what this debt is going to be about, but Canada Revenue Agency would prefer you do your taxes so that the benefits will come and it might cover some of the debt. That's number one. And number two is you will find that if you call Canada Revenue Agency 1-800-959-8281 and explain to them that you don't have that money, that if they owe like thousands of dollars that you don't have, that they will make an arrangement with you so that you're just paying a minimum amount.
Right.
So I try and I'm not just saying that. I have sat on the phone with people
Wow.
who owed a lot of money because of some issue that came up in the past. And they seriously, Canada Revenue Agency doesn't want to break you so that you are homeless and on the street. They just want to get, you know, some kind of plan for the repayment. So
Okay.
I tell people,
They're trying to help.
they're trying to
They're
help.
trying to help,
You
yes.
know, let's get it set up. You know, it's a headache for you having that on your mind, so try and get the help.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Now, how and where do you receive the service? Where do people go?
So the central place is called ConnectWell. They don't have to go there, but they can call ConnectWell, and that's what they should do. And they have a line, an extension there that people will give their name, they'll give where they live, they'll give their contact phone number, and if they have a preference for a volunteer that they've used in the past, and they will also say, do they have a preference in whether they want to do it in person or do it by telephone. And then it's based on that one of our volunteers will be in touch with them to say, okay, we're ready to do your taxes. I will add that if they say they want to do it in person, then the person on the other end will say, okay, so we have clinics, that's like a place that they can come on this date, in this place, and they'll kind of help them to figure out where and exactly when to get their taxes done. Yeah.
Okay. Now we said there's a big catchment area. Where do you cover?
Well, I will cover anywhere by phone. Because personally I live in Perth. I tend to use the places that are in Perth. Some of our volunteers will go various places. We have a volunteer who lives in Clayton, and she'll go anywhere. You know, she's very generous with her time. So we have various locations that each of the volunteers do, but we try and keep the same volunteers at the same location.
Okay. Do you go to people's homes, or do you?
No, we don't go to people's homes. So if there's a need to be done in home, then we try to make some arrangement. If they're, a shut-in, we try to make some arrangement to either do it by phone or doing it by email or some kind of way that we can work with them.
Right.
So we do try and work.
So do you have family members or maybe a friend helping them on the other line too? Or
Yeah, we oftentimes have family members who will help them. We do have to speak to the person in particular, and it's actually a very good idea for the family member to contact Canada Revenue Agency to say, my family, my person who I'm trying to help is unable to do this. And Canada Revenue Agency has set up kind of a, I can't think of the name of it, but it's almost like they become their representative.
Okay.
So if you have an elderly parent and you say, they cannot do this, then there's an arrangement with Canada Revenue Agency, not with the volunteer, but with Canada Revenue Agency, so that they can be speaking on their behalf. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, typically with income tax, you think there's a start date and everything, but it sounds like you do this all year round.
We do.
This will be your busy season coming up.
This will be our busy season. And ConnectWell, which their main office is in Carleton Place, but they have a 1-800 number. They are taking calls anytime starting now. So the calls are coming in now. Have you ever met people that they want to get their taxes done immediately?
Yes.
Like
January 1st, they're walking around with the booklet, yes.
That's right. They have all
waiting for all their papers, yeah.
But we don't start until the beginning of March. And part of the reason is because some of the papers that they're going to be receiving, that they have to report on, don't have to actually be sent to them till the end of February.
Right.
So for that reason, we don't start until the beginning of March.
Right.
However, if they want to call ahead to ConnectWell and say, this is my name, my number, and I want my taxes done, then they will be at the top of the list.
Right.
Because I will add, you won't believe at the beginning of March, like we can have like 400 people that are wanting to have their taxes done.
Right.
So some of those people that are really anxious, they call in earlier in February.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually tested the number last night before I came here to
Just
see,
to make sure,
okay,
yes.
will this extension get me through to the person who takes the information? And sure enough, it did.
Okay. And what is that number?
Well, thank you for asking. So if there's not long distance for them to call Carleton Place, they would dial 613-257-7121, and then the extension is extension 3105. So if it's not long distance, that's where they call. If it's long distance, they can call 1-800-667-2617, and again, it's the same extension 3105.
All right. And ConnectWell has got a Facebook page. They've got a website too, so you can always look for that information there too as well.
That's right. It's a really good way to do it. If people are comfortable going to ConnectWell's website, it'll be on there as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for everything you do, and it's a wonderful type of volunteering to help these people through such a, sometimes a stressful time. So yes, doing their income tax. So
well, I will mention one thing is that sometimes people worry about confidentiality, that I don't want to tell a stranger things like what my social insurance number is or how much I earn. And not only do we have to keep everything confidential, we actually have to discard or delete, I was thinking of the word delete, on our computers, any information as soon as we send in their taxes electronically, we delete all their information so that nothing is going to be held or hacked on our end.
Okay.
And that's good for people to know that it's confidential information.
Right.
If we were ever to share any information with anyone but that person, we would be in trouble.
Right.
We would be in great trouble.
Right.
And the last thing I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Kathy.
That's all right.
This
is great information.
Some people love to file by paper. I have probably 50 people that tell me, I've always done my taxes on paper. That's how I like to do them. That's how I'm going to do them.
Right.
So if they like to do it that way, that's fine. I can help them. I can show them what things that they need to do if they're doing it themselves on paper. And secondly, some people have to file by paper. There's been some issue with Canada Revenue Agency. So we will help them if they have to file by paper. But for the most part, we like to electronically file their taxes. They're in the same day that we do the taxes.
Yes, they're quick.
And they're the quickest way to do it.
Right, right.
And that's I promise I'll stop talking.
That's quite all right. You've been full of information this morning. We so appreciate it. Thank you very much. Once again, we've got Martina Flanagan with ConnectWell. You are a volunteer and community volunteer with the income tax program with ConnectWell all year round, but this is your busy season coming up. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.